making such statements, sir. The question of the question of providing some relief to the Muslim minority came not because of their numbers. It came because of their economic and social status, which was brought out by the Sacha Committee report. That's why the Justice Ranganath Mishra report talked in terms of reservations within the OBCs. But none of those issues are connected here. But what we have is a very passionate reference to Article 370, which comes in para 20. And on that issue, there can be no dispute, sir, that our brothers, Kashmiri Pandits, who have been displaced internally in their own country, should get back a sense of their belonging, should go back to these areas, no dispute. But then what is it talk of, sir? That there will be special efforts will be made for the return for a settlement in Kashmir. This is very ominous. It just reminds us of the Jewish settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. What are these settlements that you're talking of? And this is a very ominous trend indicator, if that is the sort of trends that you're talking of. Because in the entire foreign policy issue, the traditional statement expressing solidarity of India with the Palestinians' liberation, that is completely missing. So this Israeli inspiration for how to deal with these problems, that is something that goes completely against the very concept and conception of what India is all about, or the idea of India, sir. So given this, that is why I think, sir, when you come to the final stages of this address, there is a reference to India being a soft power. To fully, para 48, I quote, to fully realize our soft power potential, unquote. So far, the criticism that I have heard for the last 10 years in this House when they were in the opposition was that India is a soft state under the former government. That because we were a soft state, we were not able to handle cross-border terrorism that has come in from there. And today you are talking of a soft power potential. What does that mean? What are we talking of this soft power potential? And yes, improving relations with everybody, that is absolutely correct, that we should do in our interest. But remember, the Honorable Chairman of this House, who was here a little while ago before you came onto the chair, as the Honorable Vice President of India, went to attend the swearing-in of the President of Maldives on his election. The Honorable Prime Minister then was invited for Nawaz Sharif's swearing-in ceremony, and he couldn't go for some other reason, but he deputed a minister of the government of India who attended. These have been happening. It's not as though suddenly it is sprung up only with the election of this government. The SAARC cooperation was on, it was going on. Good, we are continuing it. I'm very happy about it. But then let's not begin with this idea that the world has been created with me. Then we will only end with the idea like Charles XVI, who said, after me the deluge. So if you begin with the idea that the world has been created with me, you will only end with after me the deluge. And that would be disaster for our country. So therefore, please remember when we talk, as the Honorable President talks of our rich spiritual, I quote, our rich spiritual, cultural, philosophical heritage. That is the idea of India. I'll just finish with this point. I know you're all beginning to be impatient, but I'll just finish with this point. The idea of India, the rich cultural, philosophical heritage. And that idea of India is that all-inclusive idea of India. And that inclusive idea of India is both on economic matters and on matters of identity. On economic matters, you cannot solve the problem of unemployment by giving, like what you said in your election manifesto, the right to employers to hire and fire, or like your BJP government in Rajasthan media reports suggest are doing, that they have implemented that in that state. What about the rights of the working people? Where is the working class in this entire speech? Where is the agricultural laborer in this entire speech? Where is the national law for the agricultural laborers in this entire speech? They create our wealth, sir. All of us are here on the basis of the wealth that is created by these working people. Not one mention of them. What is this inclusive India we are talking of? And that is where I think there is something very serious in this entire outlook. And that is where if you're talking of the rich cultural philosophical heritage, please remember, Dr. Saab is not here, Dr. Karan Singh. He signed the first constitution of Jammu and Kashmir when it acceded into India, which became the law which is still in force in that state as the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. But he is a member of our house. But you would say in his Srinagar there was a small place which has now been restored. All of us have helped in doing that, including my standing committee, which is that famous Pari Mahal, where Dara Shikoh came and authored that famous treatise which he was titled as Majma ul Bahrain, the mingling of two oceans. He was talking of Vedanta and Sufism, Islamic Sufism, of how this syncretic culture evolved in our country and how the objectives were same, where we have learned, like Swami Vivekananda said, different rivers flow in different directions but merge finally in the same waters of the ocean. How all of them come and converge into a syncretic civilizational ethos, that is India, sir. Now that cannot be done through any exclusive viewpoint on any aspect at all. When you're talking of a rich diversity, the only thing I remember is, please, I keep recollecting Firaq Gorakhpuri. Firaq Sahib, as all of us know, he was a born Hindu, high caste Hindu. What was Raghupati Sahai? Raghupati Sahai was his name, and he taught English, professor of English in the Allahabad University. And he wrote admirable Urdu poetry. One day, there was a very bad communal atmosphere in our country, but there was a Sher-o-Shairi that was going on in Allahabad. Permit me to say this, you will also enjoy this. There was a Sher-o-Shairi that was going on in Allahabad, and he was asked to come, how can it be that we are having a Sher-o-Shairi in your city and you are not participating? He said, no, the atmosphere in the country is bad, I do not want to say anything today. This is not the time for, your sort of poetry. People insisted, so he said, okay, I'll go there and just recite one sher. Just 2 lines he spoke, sir. And that was about Urdu poetry, and that poetry at that point of time, it has a lot to do with enjoyment, with life, etc. So he said in Urdu, Hasil o ishq e husn, bas itni. हासिल ओ हुस्न ए इश्क बस इतनी आदमी आदमी को पहचाने. There is no India if we don't recognize the other person, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, whatever it is also as a human being. And if you do not recognize people coming from different religions equally, different castes, laboring class or the billionaire in our country, if you do not recognize all of them as equals, there is no India that will be left. So when you talk of this cultural, philosophical heritage, etc., yes, Ganga you clean, but also clean Godavari and, on which I was born and brought up. Whose water? Kaveri, Kaveri, Periyar. Please clean all of that. But then Ganga cleaning is a part of the president's speech, Ganga cleaning. But then you had the MP from Varanasi.
Now please conclude.
Yes, sir. The last decade last 2 decades, you had the MP from Varanasi, a former president of the BJP. The mayor of the city is from BJP. But only now you suddenly think that cleaning is possible. But anyway, even now if you are going to do it, very good. If you are planning to do it. But then finally, sir, the 3 Ds, the last paragraph when he talks of. With 3 Ds, democracy, demography and demand on our side. Democracy, sir, unless you think seriously about election reforms. Today I know you come from a state where this sort of money is not normally spent, but you've seen what these elections have been reduced to. Parties like ours, it's impossible to function in these elections because you don't allow us to do wall writing, you don't allow us to put up posters, but then there's no restriction on going onto electronic media, spending thousands of crores of rupees on hiring aeroplanes, and then crisscrossing across the country, and then there's a lacuna in the law that political parties' expenditures are not under any ceiling. Candidates are, but not the political parties. I mean, what is this the discrepancy? It's a very incongruous situation. Now, unless you correct these things, it's just money power that will distort your democracy. So, electoral reforms, we've been talking about it all these years, but that is required. Honorable President should be reminded when we send back the motion of thanks and we express our gratefulness that you bring in electoral reforms without which, and you bring in proportional representation, 30% of the vote and a majority, 4%, 5% of the vote and no seat. You know, I mean, this is absolutely incongruous. Are we a democracy? Not once do we have a central government that had more than 50% of the people who voted. Forget 50% of Indians. 50% of the people who voted have not voted for any government in India since independence. There are more people who voted against the government than for the government. Is that democracy? Serious thinking is required. If you want democracy, if you want demography on our side, empower our youth, as I said earlier. Give them health, education and employment. And yes, and if you want demand if you want increasing the purchasing power in the hands of the people. That you can only do if you take care of your working class, your agricultural labor and the working people. And when the government invests in infrastructure, creates jobs and gives people money through that job creation. So, sir, unless these are done, these final 3 Ds cannot serve the country. And therefore, I do hope that this August House, while sending back the motion of thanks, with the thanks to the President, will very humbly remind him of these issues so that his government may be urged that in the coming days to address these issues. I hope we'll do that. And with that hope, I thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, C.H. Reddy ji.